This portion is called Emor, which means say. The Lord is instructing Moses what he is to say to the priests. It's Leviticus chapters 21, 22, 23 and 24. Now this portion deals with the Kohanim, the priests, and their service in the Mishkan, the tabernacle. This word Mishkan derives from shochem, to dwell. Mishkan is the dwelling place of the Shekhinah. All these words are wonderfully related. Now, every week in the synagogue, the people are blessed from the bima. That's the raised platform. They are blessed with the Birkat HaKohanim, the blessing of the priests. You know, the Lord bless you and keep you. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Found in Numbers chapter 6, verse 22 following. Now, on Yom Kippur, there's a poignant moment when two direct descendants of Aaron take their place at the front of the shul, the synagogue, with the Ark of the Scrolls behind them, completely cover their heads and faces with their talits, their prayer shawls, indicating that the blessing is from God, not them, and they extend their two hands toward the congregation. The rabbi pronounces the first line of the blessing. Both men chant the words in unison. The second line is said from the bima. The men again chant the second line. And then there's the third and final line from the bima, and the priests chant it again. The congregants should not look at the men because they are merely instruments, conduits of the blessing. It's a profound few minutes, as profound as you want it to be. But here's a question that's been raised by a number of people. The two men at the front are conduits for the blessing of God upon the people. Fine. But what about them? Why should they be left out? And this is a typical Jewish question and quite lovely in its concern for the men at the front. And the answer is as delightfully simple. When God first called Abraham, he said to him, quote, I will bless those who bless you, and he who curses you, I will curse. Genesis chapter 12, verse 3. The Kohanim pass on the blessing of God to the people, all of whom are descendants of Abraham. Therefore, the Kohanim themselves are being blessed by God. It's that simple. Blessing for blessing. God promised if you bless the children of Abraham, you bless Abraham, then you will be blessed in turn. But how does that apply to us? Blessings in our day are becoming sought after. People are suffering as the society around them is breaking up, and even their own governments are against them. Things in general are losing human warmth. Nobody can help noticing the changing atmosphere as people become suspicious of one another and are guarded. One little example of this. When I was young, grown-ups would occasionally rub your curly head. Even policemen did it and knelt down kindly to talk with you. Nowadays, don't try rubbing a child's curls. You might end up in court. It's a tragedy that people, evil people, have been permitted to poison a once beautiful society. But we are called to be blessers. Every believer is a priest, a royal priest, and has the honor of being a conduit for God's blessing. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9. How that blessing is conveyed can only be limited by our imaginations. We can bless in word, in deed, even mere thought, or the expression on our faces. And here's another thought. Every believer, being included in Christ, is grafted into Abraham. So when I bless a believer, I'm blessing Abraham, and I receive God's blessing just as he promised. Whenever we see believers, we can bless them. We can bless them in word, deed, or even thought. We can think a blessing for them. Whenever I attend a Christian meeting, I always prefer to sit slightly to one side because I love to look at the faces, and my enjoyment is an unspoken blessing toward them. Interestingly, in the synagogue, people face one another. It's all part of God's benediction. When we encounter unbelievers throughout our day, we can be generous with our blessings, even as God is with his, and we are mere conduits of his abundance. And here's the interesting thing. The person I bless may be an unbeliever. They may even be openly hostile, but they may be predestined to be called, to be justified, to be glorified. We simply don't know, and our blessing may contribute to their salvation. Also, why miss an opportunity to be blessed yourself? In blessing, we are blessed. The word blessing can be translated happy, to be blessed, to be happy. I read a story of people who were converted when they just happened to see the back of a certain Christian's head. It's a true story. He emanated blessing, apparently. I can't remember the man's name. It may have been a Hudson Taylor, but I'm not sure. He emanated blessing, evidently, and the blessing alighted upon those who were called, and they chose to respond. How imaginative God is. Today, they might say, God thinks outside of the box. Well, of course he does. He is outside of all boxes, all confinement. He defines what freedom is and invites us to join him in his creativity. Here's the thing. God doesn't ration the number of blessings that we can hand out in any day. In fact, you could say that heaven has an overflow of blessings, a surfeit of blessings, and it satisfies God to see them being used by his chosen people. Then why not bless everybody? Not necessarily verbally, that would be impractical anyway, but in thought, in facial expression, and in action if the opportunity arises. Maybe we'll anonymously bless 100 people this week, and when we get to glory, Jesus will say, see that person over there? What a wonderful thought that would be. Somebody I blessed and forgot about or was unaware of. Because no blessing is wasted, you know. Recently, a man in the UK was found guilty of something that our secular and godless legal system considers a crime. He was praying silently in public. Let us determine that we shall bless and pray all the more in the face of this evil. The Egyptians knew the end was in sight when they saw that the more they persecuted the Israelites, the more they increased, the stronger they became. I love it. This is something the Antichrist governments of our day, the globalists, the haters, cannot stop us from doing. They can't stop us from blessing and being blessed, can they?